Oh, blessings. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Good, good, good. Oh, it's so good to be with you. I just feel like it's been a lifetime since I've taught, which is like one of the ways where I'm like, wow, like retreat is so deeply nourishing. Um, And so I was just recognizing that before I put myself on the video, like, wow, it feels really good to be with you again. So, and I'm happy that you're here on I got to show you my new glasses. Um, I'm so glad you're here for this particular Dharma talk. Thanks, Joy. On grace. And oh, it's so good. So I'm really glad you're here. So yeah, we're going to be talking about imperfect and loved anyway, and really the gift of grace, and really kind of talk about what that is. What is grace, and sort of what gets in the way for us of receiving grace, and then we're going to practice a meditation that's different than meditations we've done in the past, similar with there's a little something different to it. It's also called centering prayer. So, which is, you'll see. So, hi, let's go ahead and just, let's arrive together. So you can close your eyes if you like and just come into your skin. Come into your body. Feel your feet. Drop your burdens. You might sense any kind of burdens that you're carrying with you, if there are any. And usually it's some form of leaning into the future, kind of gaming out and feeling a bit lost in the gaming out. So just noticing any gap between where you are and where you think you should be. And often in just the noticing of the gap closes some. And then just checking in with your heart, just noticing, like, how is it in here? Is the heart agitated or at ease? Or something in between? And you might notice too, just like, okay, how present do I feel? These are inquiries, and inquiries, they don't demand an answer. Such a relief. Like, I find that so refreshing. So you can just let the questions in. How's the heart? You know, how present how present am I? And then just noticing what arises, and, noticing if the inner critic is, yeah, just if it's present with you or not. And then we'll all together just sense an inclining of the heart mind, of our hearts and minds, just towards friendliness. Being friendly towards the self. Yeah, we need grace for that. because we've believed that friendliness is, earned somehow, that we have to earn it. And so it's grace that allows us just to sense a kindness and a friendliness towards this one. The Buddha said, no one is more worthy of your love and affection than you, no one. And that's easy to forget. So we're just going to take a moment to remember that and just to let in, a little more kindness or care. And we'll just take a deep breath in. We'll hold at the top of our inhale. And then sip in a little bit more. And release. Let's do that again. Deep breath in. And hold. Sip in a little bit more. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears and scrunch up your face and tighten up a bit and then release it. Good. And one more like that. Tighten and drop it. Sense the relief of dropping that tension. And then the last little bit here as we're arriving together, just noticing your intention, again, this is an inquiry, right? So you don't have to know the answer the minute the question is asked, which just, that's grace. But you can just sense, okay, what is my intention, Connection, belonging, ease, peace, to come together in community, to practice, Maybe there's some other intention that's alive for you. And may our time together be fruitful, may our time together serve to guide you towards the deepest connection to your intention available to you at this time. And for the benefit of you and all beings whose lives you touch now and will touch. And as we let our eyes open, you can take in your space. Just let yourself orient, and then we'll orient to each other. Hi, let me see who's here. Those of you who joined late, right? I shared earlier, this is a big deal. I got new glasses. Hi, James. So I had to do the reveal for those of you who joined late. I'm going to take myself off the pin so that if you want to put yourself on gallery, or you want to put it on gallery view, you can just see, we can just kind of be together in a different way. And I can say hello, blessings, Anna and Candace and Marilyn and Erin and Melissa and Marlene and James and Joanne and Karina. I'm here too. Hi. Oh yeah, so welcome. So as always, I start with a little Dharma talk. And then the last part of our time together is spent in our meditation. And we will go until a little before 10. It's wonderful. And if you can stay for the whole thing, that really makes a difference. And your full participation makes a difference too, right? So just meaning like, just being fully present is not just a blessing and a benefit for you, but for all of us. Because we sort of co-create this experience. So I'm so happy to, I have some things I want to, share around grace and this unasked for love. And before I do that, I just want to share too, I feel like I want to tell you about a little bit about my retreat. I just got back on Saturday, and I was there from Monday through Saturday at the Hermitage. And just we don't, there's no Wi-Fi. It's in Big Sur. There's no Wi-Fi. And if you want to get it, you have to drive like 20 miles, like it's like an hour. So it's not easy. So you really do let go of, and then there's a landline, so my husband can call if he needs to, of course, and I can call home. But it's like, yeah, right. It's like that. And I'm just the way of silence and letting all your attention sort of collect and gather. It's such a blessing, and it's just so nourishing, and I can't recommend it enough. I mean, I have to move mountains to have something like that happen, and you do too. It's not easy, right? Like everyone's inconvenienced when I go away like this, everyone. I'm not deluded about that. But then it's also reality. I mean, my husband, he's always like, I think the family too, is blessed when I'm not here. Because like they can be like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, I just know there's no schedule. you know, I know the fun that gets had here when I'm not around. So, it's like I have to appreciate that too. But my husband's always, super gracious and really, and we do that for each other. He's taking some time in December. So like anyway, but being just the silence and then being able to go and practice with the monastics there, and they sing a lot, and singing is it's so wonderful to sing, and they combine it's a Catholic hermitage, but everyone is welcome, and they combine they have this um, interfaith. There's this openness of mind and heart that I had never experienced in the Catholicism of my youth. And when I experienced it kind of accidentally a few years ago, I just, I've been going back about, every 3 or 4 months since. Um, so yeah, yeah, that was my experience. It was just amazing, and being in nature and painting and everything like that. Um, so let's talk about, before I talk about some things, I want to ask you intentions. So you can put them in the chat. What came through as your intention? Coming home, Candace. Good to have you here, Candace. Marlene, devotion to my own healing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. That's right. Especially when we're teachers, to ground and reconnect to myself. Good, Melissa. Marilyn, practice and being a student. Yes, yes, yes. Feeling imperfect, desiring acceptance. Yeah, good, Joanne. So it was so interesting. I was self-grace. Yes, Erin. Yeah, okay. I was in the kitchen, and they have bookshelves, and the name, so the grace was like everywhere I was looking. When I was at the Hermitage, I was seeing the word grace, or I was like, I look on the bookshelf and I see this book that's called Presence and Gratitude. Yes. And I see you have a question mark, Marilyn, maybe, or my thing isn't reading what you put in the chat. Do you have a question?
Oh no, it was a heart person, because everyone's intentions were so beautiful. I just was acknowledging everyone's intentions. Sorry for the question.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Oh, right. It's so weird. It comes through for me. I don't know why. Awesome. Good. I love that. I know. It's so beautiful to look at everyone's intentions. I saw, so this book just jumped out at me on the bookshelf, and it was called Sin Boldly. And I put the subject of this email, Sin Boldly. Um, and it's a book, and I'll give you, so it's called Sin Boldly. And I meant to, anyway, and I read most of it. But anyway, and I loved that because we are imperfect, right? We are imperfect. And so, because we have this anxiety about our imperfection, because we have this anxiety about our imperfection, it can really be hard for us to let in the love that's here. And I read this I forget who called it the unasked for love. I think it's in a poem. But I've always loved that unasked for love because it's not a love we earn. And I'll talk more about this. It's just part of being alive. And we need not wait to be perfect to receive it. And I think that's a really hard piece, for us to grok, because we feel like, to put down our worry or to put down our guilt is somehow a betrayal of our care. And so this is so deep. It's so deep, right? It's just kind of like breathing for us for a lot of the time. So, which can make things like silence, right, and solitude very uncomfortable, because there's it's called Saint Romuald's Brief Rule, and it's in most of the rooms at the Hermitage. And it starts out, I don't know the whole thing, it's wonderful though. It starts out, it says, sit in your cell as in paradise, leave the world behind you. And I love that. Sit in your cell as in paradise. So there's this realization that to see the grace, to see the beauty that's here, that's just kind of like here, receive me, like life is that, way. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But to receive that is something that we have to remember. It's something that we have to practice, because it's so we're so habituated to this. I don't know if habituated is the right term. Well, habituated in our bodies. I think we're habituated to a sense of being stressed, right? Like, if I'm not geared up, something's wrong. Like I'm always guarded and protecting myself, because I feel, threatened in some way. I think that we get habituated to that feeling. And so to just relax the body, like we can all just do that now. Right? You can do it when you remember, right? It's so good. That's such good news that you can consciously relax. And sometimes it's important to remember that it's safe to relax, and that relaxation is a practice, because what's the habit? Like guarding against life, and I'm unworthy, right? I have to earn good things, or I have to earn love, or I have to earn my right to be here. And so grace really is about getting what you haven't earned and don't deserve. Getting what you have, and just think about everything so many moments of grace already. Just so, and we're going to unpack this more, but there's so much happening that's keeping us alive, this interdependency that has nothing to do with us earning it at all. Like, we're not making it happen. It's just there. It's just, it's grace. And so, and a part of acknowledging grace is gratitude. Gratitude being a practice, because it's so easy to, especially when we're stressed out or we're activated, And for some of us, this is kind of a chronic, pattern, especially if we're dealing with, developmental trauma. Um, if we're tense and tight and stressed, the mind is reflective of that, and we tend to just focus on what's wrong. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my life? What's wrong? What could go wrong? Right. And that's actually beneficial to some degree, but when it's kind of chronically getting in the way of our capacity to be at ease in our life, then it's something that is it's harmful isn't even a strong enough word for it. It's worse than that, right? So we can really practice. We can really have confidence in our capacity to practice, and we can really sense that this practice of trusting that we are imperfect and loved anyway is a practice. It's something we have to remember, right? We have to remember many, many times a day. This is by Mary Oliver. It's called The Place I Want to Get Back to. The place I want to get back to is where, in the pine woods, in the moments between the darkness and first light, 2 deer came walking down the hill. And when they saw me, they said to each other, okay, this one is okay. Let's see who she is and why she is sitting on the ground like that, so quiet, as if asleep or in a dream, but anyway, harmless. And so they came on their slender legs and gazed upon me, not unlike the way I go out to the dunes and look and look and look into the faces of the flowers. And then one of them leaned forward and nuzzled my hand. And what can my life bring to me that could exceed that brief moment? For 20 years, I have gone every day to the same woods, not waiting exactly, just lingering. Such gifts bestowed can't be repeated. If you want to talk about this, come to visit. I live in the house near the corner, which I have named Gratitude. And I think sometimes it's hard for us to it can be hard for us to practice gratitude if we feel like we don't deserve it. So to really practice gratitude, we need grace. We need this grace. Getting what you haven't earned and don't deserve. It's happening all the time. An aspect of this that I wanted to speak to as well is that when we realize, we really understand, that, we can just sense this right now. There are myriad things that we are relying upon right now to keep us alive, that have really, we're not behind this. We're not operating the heartbeat. We're not operating the breath. It's just happening, just like the bird song, right? Just like waking up in the morning. These things are, I'm dependent upon so many things, just to drink my coffee, right? We think about that, right? This interdependency, in Buddhism, we talk about Indra's net, really has to deal with, let me just read this to you. It's a much loved metaphor of Mahayana Buddhism. It illustrates the interpenetration, intercausality, and interbeing of all things. And here is the metaphor. In the realm of the god, Indra is a vast net that stretches infinitely in all directions. In each eye of the net is a single, brilliant, perfect jewel. Each jewel also reflects every other jewel, infinite in number. And each of the reflected images of the jewels bears the image of all the other jewels, infinity to infinity. Whatever affects one jewel affects them all. And I think understanding the support, and that's like, one of the things I really wanted to emphasize today, because I always like to emphasize three things. And the first one I'm calling just support. So just recognizing that you don't need to, you can surrender, like you can relax, you can stop, you can be. Like if you're in meditation, you really don't have to think that thought. You really don't have to game your whole life out. You really don't have to manage all the future moments. You really don't need to carry that burden. But the only way that we can drop that burden is to trust in that support that is with you, whether you acknowledge it or not. That is love. Like your heart loves you, beats for you, like doesn't, it's tirelessly beats for you. Like that's its job and it's doing it, miraculously. Same with your breath. It's just breathing you. You're not doing that like all night long, It did it. Like we're not doing that. We can soften and stop doing, and we can trust in that. Because surrender is a practice of grace, right? When I surrender, that's an act of grace because I'm taking my hands off the controls. I'm sensing that there's something behind the scenes that I can rest back in. So allowing support. Receiving encouragement and celebration without feeling obliged to pay back. This is part of allowing support. We can notice the places where it's hard for us to receive encouragement and support without guilt. We might notice when we feel guilty when that's happening. And it's a good practice to just notice that, right? To just notice that, name it so you can let it go. Because part of, allowing support is it's just this, you can receive, right? You can receive. We can actually become more conscious of, say, the breath breathing us, right? And that consciousness of that gift, right? Of the breath amplifies it, the yeah. And so another aspect of this is like recognizing the obvious, which is what I was speaking to, but also body, like letting yourself really be in your body, letting yourself explore the body. You don't always have to, because you can't control and manage life through your head and really be in your body at the same time. And the body's always here. So the more we're embodied, right? Hence the embodied mindfulness school. The more we're embodied and aware of that embodiment, the more present we are. The next piece I wanted to talk to is I spoke to a little bit earlier, but it was just surrender. So letting it all fall apart, which we're going to do in a moment, letting it all fall apart is a practice. right? Rather than practice our usual attachments and our usual strategies of control through thinking, we practice detaching from those things, you know, and we make space to let the beloved in. Okay, so there's this sense of when we speak of grace and we speak to the wisdoming that beats our heart and breathes our breath beyond our will, right? We can sense it, you know, that is such a mysterious, you know, consciousness is so mysterious. Like we don't, there's argument about what it is and where it's located. We can't find it. Why? It's because it's just unfathomable. It's you know, you can, it's God, it's the beloved, it's spirit, it's source, right? But there is this acknowledgement of that there is this breathing, this pulsing life that is supporting me, that is intelligent, that is moving through all things, you know, and so there's an aspect of surrender, and in order to surrender, there's a recognition that that is a trustworthy place to, you know, give our life over to, right? Like give our usual like mechanisms of control over to. And so, and then the last thing I wanted to speak about is, I'm gonna let the dog in, and I hope she's okay. She's been out for a while, so boy, she's Phoenix. She's just like, she's such a puppy. Centering prayer. So centering prayer is this practice of, it's practice of meditation. What are you doing? Are you gonna be good? That's not, I shouldn't say that. Good, shouldn't. I hope she's calm. If not, then I'll put her back outside. So centering prayer is a practice, it's a meditation practice introduced Thomas Keating, I believe, was the person who started teaching it. And he was very much influenced by meditation in the Buddhist tradition. And he would go on retreats at, you know, his friends who, you know, lived in the Buddhist monasteries. You know, he would go and sit retreats there. And so he had a very deep meditation practice and incorporated it into what he calls centering prayer. And so centering prayer is meditation, you know, it's like we have an anchor, and we sit in a comfortable position. Just like, yeah, it's all of it, all of the things we think about when we think about, you know, vipassana or zazen meditation in Buddhism. There's this one subtle but important distinction, that when we return back to the anchor of our attention, so say we're using the breath or what's often used as a sacred word. So it can be, we're not meditating on the word. The word is just used as an anchor. So it could be peace, it could be Abba, it could be whatever, you know, it can be whatever you want. And then, but there's a sense that when you're coming back to your anchor, there's a way that you're consenting to the work of the beloved, the divine, the vast wisdoming to, you know, to do its thing in you, that you're deepening into its presence, and you're consenting to, you know, reorganization, you know, alignment, right? Like there's a sense that there's a restoration that's happening. And so you're consenting to that restoration happening. And this is happening regardless of what the interior experience is. So, whenever you notice that you get caught up in gaming out the future, whenever you notice you get caught up in whatever it is that has you leave your body, you just come back. And it's grace that lets you come back with no judgment. You just come back to the breath or your word. And it's also just you sense that you're coming back, and it's like, oh, that's right, I'm consenting, to just being present, to surrendering, to letting the beloved um, reorganize me, or right. So there's just like a let go that happens, and that's going to be our practice today. So go ahead, and I hope that was helpful. Yeah, if there was anything in that talk that really resonated with you, or you have a question about anything, feel free to put it in the chat. We're going to begin our meditation practice at this point, and so yeah, your donations make a difference. I really do appreciate these talks are freely offered, but your donations are much appreciated. And you can PayPal, Zelle, or Venmo me at Karina-Nickerson. These talks are uploaded onto YouTube, so you can catch so many are up there now. You can catch those. If you're not subscribed to my channel, do that. And I think that's all I wanted to mention at this juncture. Oh, good. So good, Karina. Thank you. You're welcome, Marilyn. Yeah, sweet. All right. So you can do that too if, as we just settle into our sit. Sometimes it feels good in the beginning to just take a few deep breaths and to sigh the exhale out. You can just sense as we're arriving more fully into the space of presence and silence together. All the support, just all the support, just recognizing it in a really simple way. The breath and the heartbeat, keeping us alive. I mean, so many other things too, just miraculously happening inside this body to keep things going. It's really, really, wow. And then, just sensing the earth holding us up. And the clothing on our skin. And then just what it feels like to be in this, the soft animal of this body. It's like, oh, that's right. I really am, I'm a lot of things. And I'm a porous, vulnerable mammal with a nervous system. This nervous system is wanting some rest. And it can have it. sensing meditation as deep rest. Not a state that you need to achieve, but just a way of resting with what is arising. It's natural for, as it's part of, we can expect it to happen many, many times, that our awareness gets bound up in a sensation and a thought and a feeling. And so, yeah, noticing that, we just come back to your breath, or if you want to practice with a word, you can also kind of have the two together. But it's just something to come back to, and you come back to it softly. Remembering the tone of inner friendliness that we're choosing. It's like we can choose the tone of voice we use to talk to someone else. We can choose the tone of voice we use to talk to ourselves. Kind and friendly inner tone. Supporting the awareness. Wherever it goes. You don't need to earn kind of a relaxing back into your breath and into your word. You don't have to earn that. The moment you relax, you've come back home. The place I want to get back to is where in the pine woods, in the moments between the darkness and first light, two deer came walking down the hill. And when they saw me, they said to each other, "Okay, this one is okay. Let's see who she is and why she is sitting on the ground like that, so quiet as if asleep or in a dream, but anyway, harmless." And so they came on their slender legs and gazed upon me, not unlike the way I go out to the dunes and look and look and look into the faces of the flowers. And then one of them leaned forward and nuzzled my hand. And what can my life bring to me that could exceed that brief moment? For 20 years, I have gone every day to the same woods, not waiting exactly, just lingering. Such gifts bestowed can't be repeated. If you want to talk about this, come to visit. I live in the house near the corner, which I have named Gratitude. If there's some gratitude that you would like to express in this last minute, just in the quiet of your own heart, Feels really good to say thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for breath. Thank you for health. And thank you for my family. Maybe well today. Just a few things I want to mention, if you'd be so kind. I have two things I want to mention. One is I am hosting a small group of women for a day-long retreat at my home in January. And yeah, we'll be practicing meditation and yoga, and we're going to be exploring the archetype of the priestess through Mary Magdalene. And yeah, learning about her and painting her, which has been sort of a deep reflection of my own, especially within the last year or two. So you just can email me at thethrivinghealer@gmail.com if you're interested in finding out more. We're having an info meeting on November 13th at 2 p.m. PT. So you're welcome to come to that, and I can send you the link. It'll be in this room, the same link for this room. And then yeah, I think that's it for now. Yeah. And then, of course, we do this every Tuesday, unless we don't, like we didn't last week because I was on retreat. So I let you know ahead of time. But yeah, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. PT. Please share this with someone who you think would benefit. If this makes a difference for you, if it helps your day be better, it will help someone else's day be better too. And that's the kind of world I want to live in. So share this with them. Anyone's welcome to come. Yeah. And I'll see you next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m. PT. If you ever have anything you want me to share or talk about in the realm of the Dharma, then, email me. I'd love to hear from you. Takeaways as we're saying our goodbyes, if you want to put that into the chat. You're welcome, Erin. It's nice to have you here, James. I'm grateful for this from you as my teacher in this practice. Thanks, Marlene. Yeah, me too. Joanne, my heart loves me. Yes, so grateful. Grace feels good. Yes, Anna, that's right. Thank you, Karina. Thank you all. Grateful, beautiful. Yes. All right, you can take yourself off mute, and I'll see you next week.
Namaste.
Namaste, Karina.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Be still is what I was going to put.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Bye. Love you,
Bye. Have a good week.
everyone. Bye.